one. Hey, everybody, love and light. This is Cameron Whitten here, founder and CEO and Chief Healing Officer for Brown Hope. And happy June, everybody. It is the beginning of the month, and here we are with our monthly soul food sessions. And just a quick shout out and huge gratitude and appreciations to everyone, all of our friends and family members and neighbors who are joining us here to celebrate the work of healing, love, and justice. That is us, Brown Hope. And so Soul Food Sessions is our monthly check-in with our community to really get real, to talk about what's happening in our hearts and our minds and our bodies and our spirits, to talk about what's happening in the world, what's happening in our personal lives, the nightmares of our past and the dreams of our future. So it's always a fun time. And it's always a rewarding time to be here with you all. We have 3 parts of Soul Food Sessions. We started off with the T, which we talk about racial justice happenings outside in the world and what do they mean for the work. Then we talk about the Plate, which is a time for us to share updates and announcements from our very own Brown Hope, because you know we always have something interesting going on. And then finally, we close it out with the Cake. And that's our opportunity to talk about and advocate and bring awareness to a healing strategy that all of us should consider incorporating as we continue to go towards this journey of healing for ourselves and the entire world. So as a reminder, if you have any burning questions, we want to hear them. Questions. First thing, one just week. Of murder. Really have was a man trying to survive, and most of us have seen the video and know what happened. And for most of us, it stirred something inside, helping us to realize the world doesn't have to be this way, helping us to realize that we have seen too many human beings who've lost their hands to cruelty and racism, and that we all have the power to do something about it. It's been 3 years since we've had to grapple with this moral awakening. A lot of good has happened. You know, I remember in 2020 in Portland, we had 100 days of protest every single day consecutively. We had thousands of Portlanders fill up the Burnside Bridge in between the east side and the west side, uniting Portland together. And that picture of hope and determination cast out, spread throughout the entire world. And we saw mobilization in a lot of other ways. For example, we had the Organ Cares Fund, which was able to distribute over $50 million in emergency assistance to Black Oregonians statewide. And we saw, national leaders, both from the private sector and the public sector, all making historic new commitments in their support for racial justice. As someone who has had the racial privilege to have been Black for now 32 years of life, it really felt like a homecoming. It really felt like a moment to have my life experience really validated on a global scale, to understand that any person who has black skin in this country, they know what it's like to experience the judgment and the harsh prosecution like George Floyd, We might be lucky to still have our lives, but every day we still live with the pain and trauma of racism, both on a personal level, but also with the systems that we are still grappling with to have our humanity and dignity protected and exalted. And so a lot of good has happened, but it's also been 3 years, y'all. And we have to be honest about where we are as a country 3 years since George Floyd's murder. There were a lot of promises that things were going to be different, but we know that there's been a prolonged global pandemic, and now we are dealing with the shockwaves of that global pandemic. And we're also dealing with new crises that have hit our communities. And unfortunately, it has felt like we as a collective people have gotten distracted. And the promises that we've been making to Black people ever since the Emancipation Proclamation, and we said, hey, we're going to give you 40 acres and a mule, we are constantly seeing a curtailing or a stepping back from promises for real lived justice for Black people. And so we have to talk about this. You know, on the 3-year anniversary, it's important to reflect on the fact that Black people in the United States are still struggling from disproportionate levels of poverty, mass incarceration, and also so many policies that were advocated for to curb police brutality, such as banning chokeholds or requiring body cameras. In many countries, these things were promised and have yet to materialize. It shouldn't take 3 years for us all to wake up and do the right thing. We're only slowly starting to see justice happen after the atrocities that we all acknowledged and accepted 3 years ago. For example, just a couple of days ago, The Guardian in the UK posted an article that showed that numerous cities in the US have begun doing settlements for heavy and completely unnecessary acts of violence that were done towards protesters and activists in support of Black Lives Matter. Over $80 million has been given in the form of settlements to folks who decided to get out of their homes and to get onto the streets and to continue to use their power to demand for the United States to do better to Black Americans. And we saw the tear gas, we saw the batons, we saw the rubber bullets that were deployed by police officers. We saw the kettling and the corralling. We saw stalking and harassment. We saw a lot of atrocious acts. Other human beings, other Americans who are given weapons of war to attack and injure people who were fighting for justice and peace. It's harrowing to think that that's what happens in our America, but it does. Fortunately, activists have continued to advocate. They've lawyered up. They've continued to bring their grievances to the government and our court systems. And now we are seeing many cities across the US, including Philadelphia, New York, and our very own city of Portland, that has actually paid out settlements for folks who are unfairly injured. Many people still carry emotional scars and trauma from these incidences, but there were people who actually have been physically disabled because of brutal acts by police in 2020. It shows us that this work of justice is messy. We're going to get hurt standing up for what we believe in, but that never means that we stop trying. And so on the 3rd year anniversary of George Floyd, let us reflect on how far we have come and how far we still need to go. I love to quote Gianna, who's George Floyd's daughter, who said to newspapers after her father was murdered that my daddy changed the world. Each and every one of us has the power to change the world, just like George Floyd. So Let's continue this work in his memory, but also for ourselves and the rest of the world. So that's our tea for today. Let's move on to the cake. A lot happened with Brown Hope during the month of May. And as we wrap up spring season, we are going full throttle into the summer. First, I'll do a shout out to our first donor appreciation event that we had this year, and we called it Hope Springs Back. Y'all already know it has been a really rough 6 months for the work of racial justice and healing justice, especially here at Brown Hope. 2022, as we continue to push as hard as we can to help Black, Brown, and Indigenous folks in crisis due to COVID-19 and systemic racism, those challenges also hit really hard at home for the staff and volunteers at Brown Hope. And so we've been doing a lot of work of repairing, of rebuilding, of doing our own healing, as we also double down on our commitment to keep pursuing justice for all people. And so we had an event for our donors, for the folks who've been there with us steadfast, loyal, inspired, to ensure that we not only have the right people, but we have the resources that we need to keep moving forward. And so we use that space to have a real talk, to talk with our donors about the last 6 months, our successes, our challenges. We also had that as a moment for rallying. I remember one of my favorite moments is that we actually brought yellow tulips, which are a sign of healing, which are a sign of positivity and hope. And as we talked about our challenges, we reminded folks that it is in times of greatest darkness that light shines the brightest. And to see everyone hold this beautiful thing that we consider to be delicate and fragile, and yet we all know plants are more resilient than we are as people. And it was just this moment to hold on to understanding that yes, there are beautiful things to hold on to that will motivate us to keep going. We had closing remarks from our amazing new Chief Operating Officer, Marshana Williams. Marshana took it home and really talked about all of the new programs and initiatives that we're working on. And we saw new commitment. We got multiple people who have offered to sign up to join the board of directors. We had new donors, donate immediately on the spot at the event. And we also talked about our upcoming campaigns like Juneteenth and also our annual gala happening in November. And so I'll just say it made us feel safe. It made us feel cared for. Being an activist, you constantly feel like you have to respond and be responsible for the problems of the entire world. And sometimes folks aren't there to support and hold you. And what I can say about Brown Hope's donors, they do the work and they are there to hold us activists as we continue to march forward for justice. And so shout out to all of our Brown Hope donors. What else has happened? We've been doing a lot of organizing for our annual Juneteenth campaign. And so Juneteenth is the most important and biggest fundraiser for Black Resilience Fund every single year. Since 2020, we've had over 100 local small businesses to Portland who have signed up every single year to donate a percentage of sale or proceeds or profits to Black Resilience Fund during the month of June. And just yesterday, we actually coordinated our very first all-staff canvas, and we hit up multiple neighborhoods. We had folks going out to Montevilla, folks who went out to Lentz, folks who went to downtown and Nob Hill. I personally went to Mississippi Ave, my own old stomping grounds. And we had staff going door to door to our small businesses who are out there doing their own hustle, building those relationships. We're talking about real grassroots action and getting businesses to sign up for Juneteenth. Within hours, we had 10 new signups of businesses to Juneteenth for this 2 weekends from now. Super, super excited just to see that ongoing support and commitment from our local businesses. But shout out also to our staff. we are resilient AF. And so out here on these streets, and we're still doing emails, we're still doing phone banking, we're still doing a lot of outreach for the next 2 weeks to make Juneteenth be successful. And so anybody watching, if you have a business or you know anybody else who owns a business here in Portland, send them to blackresiliencefund.com. Tell them you still have 2 weeks to sign up for Juneteenth. You can decide what percentage of profits or sales that you want to donate to Black Resilience Fund. Every single person can give something, and those donations are powerful. So thank you all so much. Other things happening in Cake Land. We have done a lot of work when it's come to the ongoing changes with our internal structure. Brown Hope now has a new member of our leadership team. We recently hired or promoted a new director of people and culture, which is our very own Jamie Allen. Jamie Allen has been a longtime Portland resident, an anthropologist, an activist, and a member of the Cherokee Nation. One of the things that we have been so grateful for is being able to put our values into action and to really show that we can build a new vision on how we do human resources and how do we do workplace culture in a way that really centers and uplifts the humanity of Black, Brown, and Indigenous people. I know one of the things that Jamie is most excited about is how do we continue to introduce this concept of restorative justice into the organization. What we know is that being in a nonprofit, which is a technical legal structure that is given to us by the federal government, as much as we're trying to change systems, we're also held to many expectations to replicate behaviors and actions that these systems really pressure us to. And what we know is that that can be really stressful for activists who are trying to organize from a very authentic place. And a lot of folks who are afraid that they might lose their jobs for speaking up and talking about workplace issues, or speaking up to challenge plans and priorities that even I as CEO might be proposing. And so for Brown Hope, it's been our investment to continue to create a space of restorative justice, which really means that we hold space for each other. And that means disagreements happen. Conflict happens. These things are not unhealthy. Conflict and disagreement is a very healthy thing because it's a part of us learning how to be vulnerable, showing who we are uniquely so that we can also be more open-minded and come together stronger than ever. And to do that, we need concepts like restorative justice built in even to our own HR practices. And so super big shout out to our very own Jamie Allen. You're doing challenging work. It is innovative work, but it is the most meaningful and rewarding work that we can do. Other updates on behalf of the Brown Hope team. We have done a lot of really amazing work when it's come to ongoing advocacy around our theory of change. This is an important time for us as a community to do healing work. One of the things that we just introduced just a couple of weeks ago has been our weekly call of actions. And we've also done a lot more advocacy in our weekly newsletter around our 4 core strategies, around our 12 principles of hope. And we've done a lot of internal trainings around the theory of change and also doing workshops on what do we mean by healing justice, and really starting to pose this challenging question to everyone on staff. Do you consider yourself to be a healer? It's a very important question, y'all. When we talk about this work of healing justice, one of the things that is going to be absolutely necessary for us to have healing justice is for more and more people to actually identify themselves as a healer. It also means that we need to have rough questions about, am I a healer? Are there parts of my life where I am stuck in a place of pain, where I might cause pain or wish pain onto others because of trauma I have myself. And to be a healer, learning how to move past that pain and to be looking towards that long goal distance where all of us can be healed. And how can we come with love in our hearts, with vision and inspiration and tact and action every single day, be pushing more and more towards a healed and just world? And so, as we've been doing that inner work with our staff, we've also been posing that question more affirmatively and assertively out on our social media, on our newsletter, and this ongoing education for our community. And so we encourage folks, sign up, be a subscriber for our weekly newsletter. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, even on LinkedIn. Watch out, maybe we're coming on TikTok. But we are out here hoping that you will join us in this conversation. And we hope that you challenge yourself to reflect and ask yourself, are you a healer? And so this stuff takes time. And that's one of the things that I really encourage folks to think about. Patience, this inner transformation work and this outer transformation work takes time. But I do believe strongly every single day we are learning more and more how to be effective. And we are also seeing small wins and big wins happening every single day. It's these small steps and these small dreams that lead to the big steps and the big dreams. And so be patient with us, be patient with yourself, but continue to stay committed to doing the work. And I do believe that we do heal. So those are our updates right now for the plate. I want to check in with Ruben, see, do we have any questions from the audience?
Yes. Can you I will summarize this question. Someone asked, you guys were, Brown Hope had been off the map for about 6 months. What happened?
That's a great question. Well, we were here. If you Google, our office is right here, 519 Northeast Hancock. But we did have to take a step back. Last year, Brown Hope as an organization dealt with a really difficult situation where there were false narratives about the organization that were being shared and spread throughout the media. We had 23 articles that were telling a story about our organization that really did not match the truth. And there was no real fact checking. And so we had to take a step back as we dealt with the trauma of having our narrative and our humanity really twisted in a unfair and cruel way, and to really reflect on how we got there and what do we need to do to move forward. And so, we made sure in January to give our staff time off. We took the first week off, and then we also approved unlimited PTO for a lot of folks during January and February because this work is hard. Before then, we were already stretched to our limits, doing unprecedented work during COVID-19. We helped over 8,000 people with rent assistance and information referral and food boxes and behavioral peer support services and direct cash assistance. And, we were doing peer support groups. We were doing a lot. At a time for a nonprofit that's only 5 years old, that only hired its first staff in 2020 in the middle of the global pandemic. So in December, seeing such an unfair narrative, cast on our organization that was already trying so hard to help so many people without having enough infrastructure or institutional support, we were done. We were very exhausted. We felt very defeated. And I'll be very honest. I, as the CEO of Brown Hope, I lost hope. I lost hope. And this miraculous thing happened in 6 months. every day there was a new day. To be really honest with you all, that is what's helped us come back, is this really ridiculous realization that every day is a new day. And every day we kept going. Our staff began to talk to each other, really sharing stories of like, what did you see happen? What did you see happen? What is real? What are our real challenges versus stories of falseness and fear that we are having to deal with now? And how do we validate those who have concerns while also sticking to the truth and doing the right thing for Brown Hope and doing the right thing for the community? Recognizing Brown Hope has done amazing, miraculous work in the last 3 years. And there's so much work left to be done to serve Black, Brown, and Indigenous Oregonians who are facing crisis. That is why we're here in the first place. And so it took us 6 months to really remember we're here for the work. We're here to help and serve others. And there's a lot of people who are still committed to working with us to make that happen. And so it has been amazing just to come back fully inspired and invested, and to see the folks who are still with us moving this work forward. Anybody who wants to reach out, come to the office. Our door is open. Email us. Sign up for our newsletter. We are here, and we've been working every day in the last 6 months, and we're only getting stronger. And so one of the things I've talked about a lot as the CEO for Brown Hope is the idea of healing is to turn setbacks into springboards. I believe that more than ever. There's no setback that we face as people that we do not have the magic to transform into a springboard and to do our best work yet. And so I appreciate you all. And I look forward to seeing what we have accomplished in the next 6 months.
Great. Another question. Is there any new programs that Brown Hope is going to come out with, like that you can allude to, or is there something else that Brown Hope wants to tackle?
That is a beautiful question. And yes, I will drop a little bit of a hint, a little teaser. And we are in the process of revamping our volunteer mobilization and our mutual aid efforts as an organization. One of the things that really made Brown Hope a standout organization back in 2020 was the fact that we raised $1 million in less than 30 days. And we did that with a groundswell of grassroots support. We're talking over 400 volunteers who signed up and pitched in some way or another to make it happen. Brown Hope has always been about this populist movement towards justice. And we know during COVID-19 over the last 3 years, maintaining that volunteer engagement has been hard. We've all experienced burnout because organizing 3 years straight during a global pandemic is hard. And so now we've been really prioritizing as a leadership team, what can we do to really revamp our volunteer engagement efforts and to really find new and powerful ways for volunteers to come in and also lead in this work. That's one of the things that's also unique about Brown Hope, is that we've had volunteers who have had very big leadership responsibilities in our organization, building policies and procedures, managing teams of like 10 volunteers. We're talking about, leading comm strategies, like actually writing press releases and doing the media contacts, or, building databases. A lot of volunteers in different nonprofits, they don't have that level of trust and power. But what we know is that if we're really going to address this injustice in this 300 million person country, we need more people. We need folks who are on staff, but we also need volunteers who are willing to pitch in their time and make it happen. And so please keep your eyes peeled in the upcoming months as we launch our new brand and our new vision and our new structure for volunteering at Brown Hope. And we beg y'all, please come volunteer. It's fun, it's rewarding, and you really do get amazing work done.
There's no more questions.
Okay, no more questions. Thank you all. That was the tea, that was the cake. We're going to wrap up Soul Food Sessions per usual with our cake. And our cake is dedicated to a healing strategy that we hope that you will consider incorporating in your life and sharing with others as we continue our movement for justice. And so for tea this month, we're focusing on the concept of altruism. And the definition of altruism means to help others. It's as simple as that. And unfortunately, in a world where we are challenged every day, it's sometimes hard to be altruistic. It's sometimes hard to put your own worries and pains aside and focus on helping others. But what we know is that being able to do that is critical to actually experiencing healing in your life. Altruism has many positive benefits. One, it is a good feeling that you have when you help other people. It's literally this ability to calm the nervous system, to actually act like this natural, what was Tylenol? It's a natural Tylenol helping other people. It feels good. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually a way to regulate your body's hormone system so that you are more calm, you are more at peace, and you're happier. Studies have shown time and time again that money does not create happiness. I don't know how many more research papers we got to publish before we realize this money that all of us are chasing doesn't make us happy. It makes us scared. It makes us angry. It makes us ashamed. That's what money does. But true altruism, caring for others, no matter the consequences, that is what makes people feel truly fulfilled and happy in life. We also know that altruism is actually super magical and transformative and actually helping you build better boundaries. Because when you are somebody who helps other people, you actually become more self-aware about what you truly need to help yourself. What we know is that people experience burnout because they try to help others so much. And then you actually go to a reevaluation process of, oh my gosh, I need to slow down and realize this is what I need to do for myself first before I help other people. As the famous adage says from the airplane motif is put that gas mask on before you put a gas mask on to somebody else. Altruism, helping others, actually teaches you what you need to do because it makes sense and it is good to rest sometimes. It makes sense to meditate and then still stay committed to helping others. And you see this virtuous cycle of how you help others and then that coming back as a positive reinforcement to yourself of you did good, you deserve to feel good and to experience success in life because you made the decision to help others. And so altruism also helps you support yourself and to have a healthy and be confident as a person. Another thing about altruism is it is the solution to fixing the problems of the world. By being altruistic to others, you actually model and inspire other people to be altruistic back. Altruism breeds altruism. And for us to get past this place of disagreement and conflict, somebody has to go first. Somebody has to be kind first. Somebody has to share first. Somebody has to give first. But every time you are planting seeds of altruism for somebody, and it might not be the person that you are altruistic to directly, but somebody else will know that story, will know what you've been through, and will be there to give you altruism back. and for us to finally build a world where there is justice, where we see past our divides and that we see that together we are one. It is altruism that is what's going to get us there. And so I'm going to be beating a dead horse, but I'm going to invite y'all to practice altruism right now. We have our Juneteenth campaign coming up for Black Resilience Fund. We are currently trying to fundraise for year 2 of our brand spanking new village building program, where we have 25 Black families in Multnomah County who are receiving a 3-year income guarantee. We need your altruism. We need your support to make sure that we fund year 2 of this program. So whether you sign up to volunteer, whether you sign up to donate, you will feel good doing it. We've got 2 weeks until Juneteenth. This is ample time for you to figure out what you can do, whether it's donating a few bucks or donating a few hours, or even just sharing the website with your friends, your supporters, or even your coworkers. Find a way to consider an altruistic act to support Black Resilience Fund this month, and it will be paid forward. So that's our tea for the day. That's our cake for the day. That is our whole soul food sessions. We hope that that was nourishing for your soul. We can't wait to see y'all again in July. And per usual, love yourself and heal yourself. Love and light, y'all. Bye.